Hi, and welcome to the next video in my Esperanto 101 series. In this one, we're going to briefly talk about what the 16 rules are, and then we're going to dig into the Esperanto alphabet. In publications of Esperanto, Zamenhof placed the grammar in 16 rules. Now, some of them are quite simple, and some of them are a paragraph or so long. So he cheated a little bit when he said there were just 16 rules for the language. But they do fit in about 2 pages of printed text, so it is quite simple. I mention the 16 rules just because as you look for resources on Esperanto online, you may run into them. But they're not actually organized, I think, in a particularly helpful way for learning the language. So I just wanted to mention them if you encounter the term, the 16 rules, somewhere. We will cover everything in the 16 rules during this course, but we're not going to do it in the order of the 16 rules. So let's talk about the Esperanto alphabet. You can form the Esperanto alphabet by starting with the 26 letters of the English alphabet. Drop the letters Q, W, X, and Y, leaving 22 letters, and then we add 6 more letters with diacritical marks. That is to say, there are 6 more letters that are just normal letters, but with added diacritical marks, and that brings us to a total of 28 letters. And here they are. These are the letters of the Esperanto alphabet. Now let's dig into them and learn how they are pronounced. The important thing in pronouncing an Esperanto word is that it's pronounced exactly as it's written. There are no silent letters. The vowels. The 5 basic Latin vowels, A, E, I, O, and U, are vowels in Esperanto. They're not pronounced the way English speakers grow up being taught about English long A's and long O's and so forth. They're pronounced more like the pure vowels of Latin or French or Spanish. A is pronounced like it is in the word father. E is pronounced like it is in the word bet. I is pronounced like it is at the end of the word machine. O is pronounced pretty simply like it is in the word local. And U is pronounced like the double O in the word boot, or like saying ooh about something. So let's say them all again. You could follow along and say them after me. A, E, O, U. Now I've broken the consonants down into a few groups. First, I'm going to talk about the consonants I consider to be easy for an English speaker. These are consonants that sound exactly the same way they do in English. And as you can see, they make up a good portion of the alphabet. In fact, they make up fully half of the alphabet. And here they are with their NATO phonetic alphabet code words, but they're pronounced just like they are in English. B, F, K, M, P, S, V, D, H, L, N, R, T, Z. I should add a little note about R. It's considered proper to roll your R in Esperanto. However, the sort of growl back of the throat R that we have in English doesn't conflict with any other sound in Esperanto. So you'll frequently hear English Esperanto speakers pronouncing it much the way they're used to pronouncing it in English. Nobody's likely to be too confused by it. It's really correct to roll the R, but if that's difficult for you, don't worry too much about it. People will still be able to understand you in most cases. Now there's 3 consonants I consider a little tricky. These aren't ones that have diacritic marks on them. They're just pronounced a little bit differently than they are in English. They're the letters C, G, and J. G is actually simpler than in English. C is a bit strange in Esperanto. It's really a cluster like the English letter X is a cluster of the K sound with the S sound, the C in Esperanto is pronounced like the T followed by an S. It's pronounced like the sound at the beginning of the English word tsar, or at the end of the word rats, on the other hand. It's not a sound we encounter at the beginning of words in English very often, but it does happen in the middle of words. It's much more common at the beginning of words in Esperanto than it is in English, so it takes a little getting used to. Say it with me a couple times. Ts, ts, ts. Now the G in Esperanto is only pronounced like it is at the beginning of the word golf, hard G. It's never pronounced the way it is at the beginning of the word giraffe, a soft G. It's always hard. Golf, girl, gift, gab. The letter that looks like the English J is actually pronounced like the English Y in Esperanto. Y. Y. If you know German, you know the word for yes in German is ja, which is spelled J-A. It's just like that. Say it with me a couple times. Y, y, y. It's just like the Y sound in English, except it's spelled with a J. Now there's 6 remaining letters. These are the ones that have diacritical marks on them to distinguish them from other letters. 5 of them have a hat on them, or more properly, a caret or a circumflex. One of them, the U, has a breve on it. This is a little half-circle symbol that in English grammar we usually use to represent a short vowel. In Esperanto, they're pronounced like this. The C with a circumflex is pronounced like the ch sound in the word church. So if you wrote the word church phonetically in Esperanto, it would start and end with the C with a circumflex. I mentioned the G sound in the word giraffe, which the Esperanto G does not take, but G with a circumflex does. G with a circumflex is always pronounced soft J, J, J. H with a circumflex is a pretty rare sound in Esperanto. It occurs in the word for an echo, which is echo. It's a hard ch sound, like in the name of the composer Bach, or in the word chutzpah. It's very rare in Esperanto, so if you have a hard time pronouncing it, don't worry too much about it. In fact, in most Esperanto words where it still occurs, speakers tend to pronounce it just like a K anyhow. The J with a circumflex is pronounced like the J would be in French rather than in German. Je. It's sort of like the sound at the middle of the English word vision. Je. Je. The S with a circumflex is pretty simple for most English speakers. It's the sound at the beginning of the word shine. Sh. 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 And U with a breve is actually very simple. It's just the sound W, like at the beginning of the English word water. If you see a name written phonetically in Esperanto, like, say, the last name of George Washington, you might see it there, or you might see it at the beginning of Winston Churchill's name. Usually, however, in Esperanto words, the U with a breve is part of a diphthong. We'll cover diphthongs in another video when we discuss pronouncing words as a whole. For now, you can just say the sound like it is on its own. W, w, w. All you have to do to keep track of U having a breve and the others having circumflexes is just remember that without a mark, U is a vowel and the others are consonants. The vowel gets the breve, the consonants get the circumflex. All right, now we can recite the whole alphabet. Remember, every word in Esperanto is written as exactly as it sounds. And the names of the letters are very simple. The names of the vowels are simply their own sounds. The names of the consonants are the consonants followed by the letter O. In a future video, you'll see why O was the right choice for this. But let's recite the alphabet. A, bo, tso, cho, do, e, fo, go, jo, ho, cho, I, yo, jo, ko, lo, mo, no, o, po, ro, so, sho, to, u, wo, vo, zo. Now, how do you type the alphabet? It may be difficult for you, if you've never done so before, to type those letters with circumflexes and the U with a breve. In older documents, you might see people using an H after a letter to signify that it's a diacritic letter. So you might see a word spelled S-H-I-P-O, and that would be the word sheepo. A newer convention has arisen in the last several decades, which uses the letter X. Since it's not part of the native Esperanto alphabet, you're not going to confuse it with the real Esperanto letter H. So S-X-I-P-O would be pronounced sheepo. These will do in a pinch, but the rise of Unicode characters on the internet means that for most purposes we can really use the proper forms. Unfortunately, the exact way to set up an Esperanto keyboard on your iPhone or your Windows machine or your Linux box varies from platform to platform and frankly from year to year. There are better or less supported ways to do this. I'll put a couple links in the description of this video that may give you some help. But the best advice I can give, honestly, is Google, and if you're less computer savvy, ask a friend who's more comfortable with your platform. Thanks for watching.